Hey, we're here doing leadership stories of the hurricane. We're talking to leaders in Houston and sort of what happened to them during Hurricane Harvey. With me is Judson Robinson from the Urban League. Judson, how you doing, man?
Good to be here. Good to be here. Thank you.
So how did you fare during the hurricane? I mean, were you at work? Were you sort of battling at home? What happened? What was your story?
Well, I think our story was more just anxiety.
Yeah.
Lots of water. The rain would never stop.
Yeah.
The winds that first couple of days were kind of up there a little bit. But our biggest issue was worrying about the what after.
Yeah.
And so where I live, I know what road floods that prevents me from getting to work if it rains more than 2 hours.
Right.
It rained for almost 5 days.
Right, exactly.
Right. And so after 14 trillion gallons of water hits the ground, I know that I'm kind of on an island, so I'm stuck. So not knowing how the buildings were doing, not really knowing how all the employees were doing, the internet went down. I couldn't communicate with my national office, who was very concerned about how our Urban League affiliate in Houston was doing.
Yep.
So it created for me some unexpected variables that, as a leader in planning, you try to do, a really good job of making sure you've thought about everything.
Yeah.
So to understand that you still had not thought about everything was very frustrating.
I've heard from a lot of people sort of an unusual stress from the hurricane, and it was sort of like we deal with a lot of crises in our work, but this seemed to be like never-ending crises. I mean, did you feel that sort of great stress as well?
Absolutely. And then knowing the number of people that move here every year that have no idea about what it takes to go through a hurricane, what the process is from the day it starts raining to the day it stops, and then the journey thereafter, if in fact you were affected. Because right now it was kind of a kumbaya type thing, and everybody was rescuing one another in boats and neighbors helping neighbors. But being a person who's been through Katrina and been through Isaac and Ike and all the others, you know what's going to happen. We're in the long-term recovery business, so we know the frustration, we know the inefficiencies of government, we know the demands that we put on government, and the trickle of the resource versus the need for the work today, and the strain it puts on nonprofits like mine that have to respond today, although you won't be compensated for months to come.
How did you react to being a leader and reacting to your staff who are also feeling this stress? Did you want to put on a good face? Did you share with them your stress? How did you act as a leader with your staff?
Well, I think as a leader, you always want to be optimistic. That's important. But showing empathy is a really big, important thing to do. So all of our managers, their responsibility was to check with their immediate staffs and their families. How are they doing? And for those that were really having problems, those are the ones I wanted to personally call and check on myself and lend whatever support I could. I was stranded on an island in Pearland. But still, just let them know I feel the pain that you're going through. Anything that we can do once we're in a position to do it, we're going to do it.
Did you see your leadership style change in any way during the storm?
Well, it was something I got a chance to really think about a lot.
Yeah.
And so the things that I anticipated doing, I think I did. It was the unexpected inability to communicate with those who were waiting to see my leadership skills.
Yeah.
And they couldn't due to the internet was down. I couldn't get to the office.
Yeah.
And so I wonder if it put question or doubt in people's minds. And again, we're not a first responder type agency. We're a long-term agency. And with so many people who also aren't first responder type agencies jumping into the first responder business,
I know.
It made it very interesting to kind of contain yourself and remember that you're really kind of duplicating a lot of efforts that already exist. And the thing to do is to send the money to the Red Cross or other agencies that have the capacity to provide the services that need to be served.
You and I will both be looking out for sort of the long term for children and for our population here in Houston. And people have talked about this hurricane being an equal opportunity hurricane, right? Everyone, but the recovery won't necessarily be equal opportunity, will it? It's going to be harder on certain families.
Yeah, and I think that's the part that a lot of people don't quite understand is, if I live in a neighborhood that was hit that's a moderate to low income, chances are that's a one-story house. We know that there's always been this debate about voting and access to voting and whether or not you need to have a certain kind of ID and that type of thing. So, we know that when you say that I live in a low-income neighborhood and my house is flooded, I have no more documentation. I couldn't take it to the second floor, if you will,
Yeah.
and put it away until things dry out and I can get it. So it adds to the complication of proper identification.
Yeah.
So how do I have equal representation without identification if now I'm impacted in a way that I couldn't avert?
Yeah.
So it's just one little example of what happens. The other thing that we look at as an agency that works on equality and fairness and creating opportunities for people is, housing.
Yeah.
Where will all these people now live that have been displaced?
Right.
Housing costs keep going up. There's fewer federal dollars.
It's going to be one of our big challenges here
It
in
really,
Houston.
really is. It's going to be tough. So, I imagine that a lot of people who lived out in the lands, as we call them, on the far out suburbs,
Yep.
they might think twice about rebuilding there. So where will they come? They'll come to affordable lands that are in distress.
Yeah.
That did not flood though.
Mm-hmm.
And build a nice place, and that'll increase the property values, and that'll make it difficult for the people who were there before to maintain that kind of property value assessment. And so then you end up with this cycle of things that occur.
Yeah.
So yeah, people of color and people of lower economic means, they always struggle.
Yeah,
they
do.
always, when others get a cold, we get the flu. So it's just the way it is.
Well, I'm glad you survived okay, and you're dry and you're good. Judson Robinson from the Urban League, and that's a hurricane story for today.